This is Valley News Live at 5.
New for you now at 5, a Fargo man has been formally charged in Cass County District Court for his role in a Sunday morning shooting at the Arbors apartment complex. However, police say he is not yet in custody. 20-year-old Oliver Ty is charged with attempted murder, aggravated assault, and reckless endangerment. A warrant is currently out for his arrest. Most of the documents detailing Ty's involvement are not yet available to the public. However, one document states Ty shot at 28-year-old Jerome Kuhn and 24-year-old Ophelia Quia and struck Quia in the hand or head, causing permanent damage. Jerome Kuhn is also charged in the case and is facing attempted murder, reckless endangerment, tampering with evidence, unlawful possession of a firearm, and terrorizing charges. Fargo police say because there are a number of people still at large involved with Sunday's shooting, there remains a public safety risk. If you have information on this incident, you can call police at the number on your screen. The Fergus Falls Police Department wants you to know about a scammer looking for donations on behalf of the police department. The caller claims that the donations would be used to help with COVID-19 relief and to address unrest between political groups. Fergus Falls police say they are not asking for donations for any cause at this time, adding, be sure to do your research before donating. Doesn't quite feel like it, but maybe we are inching out of this wicked cold spell. Let's find out and look at this evening's forecast. Hutch, it's hopeful. Maybe I'm looking for something that's not there.
No, you're onto something. I got to tell you, Andrea, as we took a look there just moments ago at all of our sky cams and, well, the clouds. Those clouds are going to keep us from getting too cold too quickly. Look at this morning. Wind chills once again approaching 40 below, but that wasn't necessarily the story as actual air temperatures today dove into the 30s below in the Northern Valley. Dangerous and even deadly cold. So check on your neighbor, throw the survival kit in your vehicle. Tonight, we see the aerial coverage of our wind chill concerns shrinking. The Devil's Lake Basin, northern Beltrami County in a wind chill advisory. Temperatures still sub-zero along the international border, but as forecast, we said there was a chance at 0 degree readings, and that's where we're at in Grand Forks and Devil's Lake. Thief River Falls here, 3 below. Here's a look at that radar. A few flakes showing up here and there. Can't rule them out as we go through the evening. And I'll look at your planning forecast for Fargo tonight. We are expecting our temperatures to basically stay steady thanks to our cloud cover over the area. Southeast winds pick up overnight, and we're on our way to warmer weather in the forecast. Below zero in the early overnight hours up north, but I have good news about a warming trend, and we'll update you on our snow chances in the extended forecast here in a few moments.
All right, thanks, Hutch. A Minnesota judge has ruled that information about George Floyd's prior arrests cannot be used at the trials of the 4 former Minneapolis police officers charged in his death. But the judge says the jury can hear about 2 prior cases involving Derek Chauvin, the former officer accused of kneeling on handcuffed Floyd's neck despite Floyd's pleas for air. In one case, Chauvin knelt on the neck of a woman who was prone on the ground. In the other case, Chauvin saw 2 other officers place a man in a side recovery position. The FBI has identified more than 400 suspects in the deadly riots at the U.S. Capitol building. That's according to the latest numbers disclosed by the Justice Department Tuesday. Officials say more than 150 criminal cases have been filed so far. Charges include unauthorized access, theft, damage to government property, and assaults on on law enforcement officers. The top prosecutor on the case said the goal is to identify as many people as possible who entered the Capitol during the siege. The U.S. isn't the only country dealing with a vaccine shortage. The competition to secure doses is now threatening to create conflict in Europe and with the developing world. Charlie D'Agata is following this in London.
The nighttime curfew that sparked rioting this week in the Netherlands was just one of the more aggressive measures taken to stem the runaway variant of the virus first identified in the UK, where a grim-faced Prime Minister Boris Johnson announced the country had become the first in Europe to surpass 100,000 deaths.
On this day, I should just really repeat that I am deeply sorry for every life that has been lost.
The scramble for vaccinations has never been more critical and tensions never higher. After British-based AstraZeneca said there would be around a 50 million dose shortfall in promised EU supplies, the EU threatened to impose export limits on the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine manufactured in Belgium, some destined for Britain.
The European Union will take any action required to protect its citizens and rights.
The EU demanding vaccine companies provide early notification before exporting to third countries, raising the possibility of holding back supplies for themselves. Addressing the World Economic Forum in Davos, South African President Cyril Ramaphosa lashed out at vaccine nationalism.
Now, rich countries in the world are holding on to these vaccines, and we are saying release the excess vaccines that you've ordered and hold it.
As numbers of cases and deaths continue to climb, vaccine embargoes only threaten to worsen the global pandemic. To put those numbers into perspective, it took 11 months for the world to reach 50 million cases, just 3 months for that number to double to 100 million cases. Charlie D'Agata, CBS News, London.
You can get the latest on the coronavirus vaccine with the new VNL vaccine tracker and access local and national resources in just 2 easy steps. Simply aim your phone camera at the QR code on your screen and then tap the link that pops up. President Biden's administration held its first COVID-19 press briefing today. The briefing featured the new team of medical experts as the country battles its deadliest month in the pandemic yet. The briefing was held virtually and focused on science-based data, giving a substantial look at how the new administration plans to inform the public about the coronavirus. On Monday, Mr. Biden announced a slew of efforts aimed at increasing supplies and boosting the distribution of the COVID-19 vaccine.
Heard from the president this week. He is pushing us to view 1 million per day as the floor, not the ceiling. To that end, we are releasing more supply, activating FEMA, and deploying many more personnel.
During the briefing, the director of the CDC said the variants that have been identified recently seem to spread more easily and they're more transmissible, which can lead to an increased number of cases. Governor Doug Burgum has announced plans to change the statewide COVID-19 risk level to low and increase recommended occupancy limits on Friday. Starting at 8 a.m. on Friday, the capacity in bars and restaurants increases to 80% with up to 300 patrons. Banquet, ballrooms, and event venues are recommended at 75% of room capacity. The state says masks are still strongly recommended. Governor Burgum says the state's 14-day positivity rate has decreased to 3%, the lowest since August 22nd. Also, active cases have decreased to 1,016 today, down from over 10,000 in mid-November. North Dakota ranked lowest among all states for test positivity. According to the CDC data tracker, the state also ranks first for people receiving the vaccine doses. Local hospitals and clinics within the Cass and Clay County areas are discussing their individual vaccine allocations. Valley News Live's Brian Sherrod has the full breakdown.
Vaccine distribution continues throughout North Dakota and Minnesota. Our local hospitals and clinics provide a more local update so we can tell you about vaccine allocations closer to home. Now, Essentia began administering the COVID-19 vaccine to the public the week of January 19th. These vaccinations are for priority group 1B to include North Dakota residents or those established with a North Dakota primary care provider age 75 and older. These vaccines are also given to the remaining healthcare workers in priority group 1A. Over a 3-day period, 1,330 doses have been given out. Essentia does anticipate their next allocation to arrive the second week of February. Staff is expecting 1,000 doses in that allocation. Fargo-Cass Public Health typically receives information about their week's expected vaccination allocations on Tuesdays. Currently, the North Dakota Department of Health is allocating the vaccine to enrolled providers on a 3-week rotation. The most recent allocation on the week of January 25th was 1,475 doses. Well, Clay County Public Health typically receives their vaccine every Wednesday. This is used to schedule clinics with the vaccine. This clinic has provided 500 vaccines so far this week and is expected to do 450 doses on Thursday. Over 1,000 doses have been administered with close numbers expected this week. The focus is still on priority group 1A, which is huge in Clay County. Now, Essentia Health is collaborating with Clay County Public Health to vaccinate the Moorhead and Clay County patients. The first Moorhead clinic is this week. Essentia will continue to work with Clay County Public Health to develop ongoing vaccine clinics for their patients. Brian Sherrod, Valley News Live.
Valley News Live has reached out to Sanford for an update on their vaccine allocation. We are still waiting on that information. Coming up on Valley News Live at 6, an update on the vaccine status in the Northern Valley. The Tokyo Olympics was top of the agenda when the International Olympic Committee Executive Board met today. The board is firmly backing the event, so any talk of scrapping it altogether due to the pandemic is unlikely. The postponed games will start in less than 6 months. So the board is tackling questions like vaccination of athletes, international visitors, and safety regulations, among other issues.
This year, for us, this Olympic year, will be exceptional because it will last not only 12 months, but it will last 14 months. Till after the Olympic and Paralympic Games in Beijing, but we're off to a good start.
Officials say the constantly evolving nature of the coronavirus pandemic makes it impossible to guarantee at this point the admission of spectators or the precise nature of the bubbles that are bound to be put in place. A popular steakhouse is reopening in Fargo soon. True Blue Social Club is one of many eateries being purchased by a small Twin Cities-based restaurant group. True Blue will reopen under a new name and concept, with details to be announced at a later date. The new owner is Eclectic Culinary Concepts. Their deal includes several restaurants in Minnesota and North Dakota, including Lucky's 13 Pub in Fargo. Forget about the strawberries and chocolate for Valentine's Day. How about some limited edition noodles instead? That story is still to come.
It's delicious. The weather a little frightful out there with temperatures that peaked below zero in the far northern valley today, but we did manage 9 degrees in Fargo. We'll leave you with a look at this morning's coldest temperatures in the region, and we'll talk about warmer weather right after this.